All right, here we are, another snowy week in southwestern Ontario, but we have a nice bright red Toyota Crown Signia Limited this week. This is called Finish Line Red. Really nice color. It looks very similar to Mazda's Soul Red. I know some people have pointed that out in other reviews, but I have to also agree, it kind of does look like the same color, but it's very nice. Now this vehicle is replacing the Venza. The Venza has been discontinued. The starting price for the Crown Signia in general is $60,000 here in Canada and about $44,000, $43,000 in the US. Here in Canada, we only have the limited trim with one add-on package called the Advanced Technology Package. In the US, there are two trims, the XLE and the Limited. Now, no matter the trim, you get a 2.5-liter naturally aspirated dynamic force 4-cylinder hybrid with an eCVT and electronic on-demand all-wheel drive. The Signia puts out 240 horsepower and 178 pound-feet of torque, and Toyota says this all-wheel drive system can send 80% of torque to the rear wheels. You're getting a little bit more power than the RAV4 hybrid, which makes 219 horsepower. You're getting more room, and I'd say a more refined experience. Now, if you're wondering about towing, no matter which trim you pick, you can tow up to 2,700 pounds. So when you take a look at the front end here, you've got a bit of a mix of Toyota design and Lexus design, kind of with this grille down here. This is very Lexus, but then up here is very kind of new Toyota Prius, new Camry look going on. Now, similar to a lot of other cars on the market these days, we have a sort of split design with the lights. We've got our daytime running lights up here, and then we've got our headlights right down here, and that's where your high beams are and stuff. So a bit of a split design, but I actually think it's quite a good looking front end. Let me know in the comments below what you think. Okay, so to the side here, this is a very long vehicle. Lots of room in there. Now, people will compare this to a Subaru Outback or like a Volvo V60 or a Volvo V90. The Subaru Outback is definitely designed for the off-road. This vehicle is not designed for the off-road. As you can kind of see, this gloss black trim, this would get beat up if you were really seriously off-roading it. Now we have really nice 21-inch gunmetal gray rims. Those look quite sharp. And we got some blacked out mirrors, and these do fold in and out when you turn the vehicle on and off. We've got kind of like a satin chrome that goes around here. Looks quite nice. Interesting design here, and overall I just think it's pretty good looking. It is easy to just get in this vehicle, in and out, no problem. You don't have to bend down very much at all. It's quite simple. Sits high enough in case you have like a bad back or anything. Now at the rear here, it does have kind of a Corolla Cross look, but also the light bar that goes across, kind of reminiscent of an older Cayenne. I don't know, I'll throw up a picture of an older Cayenne right here. Maybe I'm completely off on that. Now, one negative about the back end would be just all of this gloss black at the bottom here. Typically, people that buy Toyotas are going to keep them a long time. I don't know how long that gloss black will look good for, but I guess we'll find out. All right, so every week I put out a poll on YouTube and on Instagram asking you what your opinion is on the vehicle that I am reviewing that week. And for the week with the Crown Signia, 429 votes came in, and 76% of you approved of the design on the Crown Signia. If you're wondering what vehicle I'm in right now, well, I'm in a 2025 Honda Pilot Trail Sport, and this will be coming out in 2 or 3 weeks from now. So if you want to see this review, just make sure to subscribe here on YouTube. Okay, so we're in the Crown Signia now. The first thing you're probably going to notice are the bronze accents throughout the interior space. This is a pretty good looking interior space. It's nothing fancy, but it's also not cheap. So it's kind of that middle ground, and it's very practical. We've got practical buttons down here. We have a nice touchscreen. This is 12.3 inches, and the driver's display is also 12.3 inches. Clarity is pretty good on those screens. Everything is laid out quite well in here. If you want your heated seats on, they're just here. You want your ventilated seats, you'll just press a button here. We've got 2 increments for a heated steering wheel there, and then fan speed up and down like this. This is how every car should kind of be. So if you're someone that really likes physical, practical buttons, the Crown Signia is definitely going to be for you. Really, any Toyota at the moment is doing a pretty good job at this. Now, I was talking about that heated steering wheel, and it does get quite warm around the entire steering wheel. Now, these seats are very comfortable. They are almost like Lexus seats. They kind of look like it, but very comfortable. So when I get in a vehicle, one of the very first things I like to check is how good is the 360 camera, or how good is the rear camera? So we'll put this into reverse here. And as you can see, it's the right color. That is a red Crown Signia, so that's cool. But when we reverse, you start seeing through the vehicle. And this is kind of cool technology that Toyota has. And this was in the Lexus RX 500h as well. And you can kind of see right through. So that's very cool. Very good 360 camera system. When you put it into drive, it'll do the same thing over here as well. You can see right through the car. So that's nice. Now, when you put this back into reverse, this does have a camera cleaner. So we just hit that and bam, our camera gets cleaned. I love that feature. I wish that was on more cars. As you obviously can see right now, this has wireless Apple CarPlay. There is no wire going to my phone. It's just chilling in the wireless charger. There isn't a whole lot to do with the infotainment system. We've got an energy flow page here, and it kind of shows you where power goes and how much charge your battery has. There is a screen for heated seats and cooled seats and your heated steering wheel. You can do it through the screen. I don't know why you would want to when the button's right there. It's just another menu to go through. Climate is also up here, but again, they have the physical buttons, so you're probably just going to use those. You can probably see this. It does have a camera watching you when you're driving on the highway to make sure you're not looking away. This does have the lane keep, and it does a pretty good job at keeping you in the lane on the highway. I used it coming home from Toronto, worked good. Now, if you saw my RX 500h video, you would have seen that it had a rear view mirror camera. And in this Crown Signia, we also have a rear view mirror camera. Very premium, very luxurious feature. Now, like every Toyota going right now, we have this kind of shifter where you push to the left and pull back for drive, push to the left and pull forward for reverse. As you come down, you have a drive mode button, and we've got normal, we've got eco, and we've got sport. And we also have a custom mode. And then you can go into the settings here to customize your drive mode and basically air conditioning, steering, powertrain. And then pretty standard traction control. We've got an auto hold button. We've got EV mode where you can kind of force the battery on. And we have an electromechanical parking brake. And this isn't piano black, so that's quite nice. This isn't gonna scratch up as bad as if they just stuck a bunch of piano black. So good job, Toyota, for not doing that. And then something you would see in a Lexus is this center console. It opens up both ways, and it just makes for getting in and out of the center console for both the passenger and the driver really easy. And inside there you have a USB-C, and then you've got two USB-Cs up here as well. This has a JBL sound system, not as good as that Lexus Mark Levinson sound system we had in that RX. It is a little bassy, but it's not bad either. It's fine. So on your driver's display, there are three different displays. You can go left here, and it will tell you your fuel economy on the left there, and then show you your battery charge on the right. Then we go to the next menu, and we've got distance or trip, and then radio station, and sort of like the music you're listening to. And then on the left there, that is kind of showing you how much power is going to each axle. And then we go to the next one, and we've got an eco score. When the vehicle has enough charge and is able to use the battery instead of the engine, it'll say EV right there on the screen. And right now we are completely running on battery. So over on the left side here, we have our automatic lights. This is a button to clean your headlights, so that's pretty cool. We've got a heated windshield right there. And then below we have a button for the trunk. And then we've got automatic windows up and down on this Crown Signia. So as you can see back here, just a ton of glass, lots of visibility for the rear passengers, lots of leg room. We've got some storage compartments here. We have vents back here, but it's not a tri-climate zone like the Lexus RX was. Okay, so big selling feature on the Crown Signia is all this cargo space. Very long car, so you got a lot of space here in the back. And then if you want to put the seats down, you have some handles here, and you just pull on them like that, and then pull over here as well, and then they both fold down. Now, there is something cool about the seats here, and let's go over and I'll show you. We have these little panels that you can pull forward and make a flat floor. So let me just pull the seat forward. I'll just move the seat forward here. So then you can just push this down, and then you've got kind of a flat floor if you're putting in something that needs to have like a flat space. So there you go. That's a pretty cool feature. So you do have a tonneau cover, and it is a pretty decent material. Sometimes you can get kind of cheap tonneau covers with Toyota. This is a nice one. Okay, so if I was building a Crown Signia, I would get this Bronze Age color with the black roof, and I would definitely go for the saddle tan leather interior just because it's a little more bright. I think it looks a little bit nicer. However, when I tried to do this on the Canadian site, it wouldn't let me pick the saddle tan leather with the Bronze Age color. So luckily for you in the US, it looks like you can do that, but I think that would be how I would spec my Crown Signia. All right, finally, it is 16 degrees Celsius outside. It is a beautiful sunny day. We haven't had too many of these days in April yet, that's for sure. Just been kind of rainy and gross. So my dad just helped get some of the flyby shots and the rolling shots that you're seeing on camera. And the first thing he noticed when he was sitting in here was that it's very smooth. And I have to agree, that is like the highlight of this vehicle, is just how smooth it is, how it rides the bumps so nicely. It is kind of Lexus level in that regard. There is this bump very close to where I live, and when I hit that with my own car, my Mazda 3, or when I hit that with our Focus as well, it feels terrible. When I hit that bump in this Crown Signia, it just glides over it. It feels really smooth. And just overall comfort in here, excellent. What's crazy is that this is running 21s. Does not feel like it's running 21s. It is just so smooth on the road here. Now, when you throw it into sport mode, the engine definitely is a lot more responsive. I've been driving this around in eco mode like the whole week, so whenever I put it into sport mode, I'm like, whoa, this car actually has some power. I've been driving it around eco mode just because I've been trying to get this fuel economy as low as I could get it. So obviously a huge reason to buy a Crown Signia is for the fuel economy, and we're getting 6.5 liters per 100 kilometers on this trip right now. Overall, like the whole lifespan of the vehicle, we're getting 7.7 liters per 100 kilometers. So to me, that seems really good for a vehicle of this size. So right now we're in EV mode, and then I'm just kind of feathering the gas pedal. I'm trying to make it so that the engine doesn't kick in. See how long we can be on. We're doing 74 kilometers an hour, and we're in EV mode, which is really nice. Totally different from that RX 500H that we drove 2 weeks ago, where the EV battery only kicked in at low speeds or right at the stop sign or like at a traffic stop. There, the engine just kicked in again, but you hardly notice it. There's no jitter in the vehicle when the engine kicks in, and it's not that loud. Now when you kind of floor this thing, it's not the nicest sounding at all. It kind of just sounds, well, it's the same. It's the 2.5 liter that you get in a lot of Toyotas. The RAV4 never sounds too great when you pin it either. But you're not going to be pinning it in your Crown Signia that often, I don't think. So obviously, if you're someone that really likes spirited driving, CVTs are kind of a bummer. But for the vast majority of people on this planet, this does not matter. It is a smooth vehicle to drive. All right, here we go into another corner here. How does the Crown Signia stack up? So yeah, I mean, it's not like exhilarating or fun to do that, but it handles turns fine. There's no issue there. The one thing I will say is you really got to lay into the brakes to get them to stop, whereas some other vehicles it's a little more grabby, touchy. This is very similar to my Mazda 3 in that you just got to lay in a bit more to stop. But once you get used to that, it's fine. This is a nice sort of height level to be at for a vehicle because you still have the lower center of gravity because this is kind of a wagon. And you're not as high as an SUV, so you don't feel top heavy. It's kind of a cool spot. Another thing about this, no bad blind spots. So now that it's a sunny day and I haven't seen the sun in like ages, I can kind of tell that there is a lot of glare on this rear view mirror. So in episode 5, the last video, I was in a BMW X3 M50, and that was a fun car to drive. Controversial design, and also the HVAC controls were in the screen, and it's so frustrating to have to go through a menu just to get to fan speed, whereas here we're just up or down. It's just so easy. I just like how it's practical in here. It's built to last. Now this is kind of just a trend or a theme with Toyotas in general. They're getting really expensive, and so that's kind of the biggest negative I would find, like $62,000 Canadian for this vehicle. And then in Ontario here, you lump on tax, you're at $70,000, so it's a lot of money. Yeah, you're probably gonna keep this car for a long time. You're probably not leasing this for 3 years. You're probably gonna buy this car and have it for a long, long time. So really easy week with the Crown Signia. Not a whole lot of complaints from me here, to be honest. Just super simple, no fuss. Just straightforward car. Just before we end this video, on my 214 kilometer trip to return the vehicle, which was mainly highway driving, I managed a 6.7 liter per 100 kilometer average, which is 35 miles per gallon, and managed to get the lifetime average to 7.5 liters per 100 kilometers, which is 31 miles per gallon. In the next video, we're going to take a look at the 2025 Mazda CX-70, so make sure to subscribe if you enjoyed this video and want to see more. We'll see you soon.